Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar merchandise review. This one is going to be my review for the Quantum Mechanics or QMX Aang Q-Fig Elite, I believe is what it is, or Q-Fig Max, it's what it says. So just really quickly the box here, because it's kind of too big to fit on camera when I'm shooting the figure itself. So here is what it looks like. So you can see just kind of rectangular box, pretty nice overall. You get a look at the figure there. Avatar The Last Airbender, Nickelodeon. It's got the new sort of, Avatar Legends kind of style, kind of scheme with the kind of navy kind of coloring in the background, white Nickelodeon logo, that sort of thing. You can see down here, you've got the other color that has been on a lot of the packaging here, the sort of sandy colored one here for Aang, and then Q-Fig Max, because it's a bigger Q-Fig. Other than that, you just have standard news, sort of again, Avatar Legends Aang in the Avatar state, Avatar The Last Airbender, it's number 93. You get a sort of nice shot of Aang there on the back. Another shot there. Nothing too much on the bottom. Interestingly, on the top, it does say boxes are meant to be opened. And then it does have this thing where like the front opens, and I thought, okay, cool, it's gonna have like a window so you can see the figure. But no, it just sort of opens up, and it's sort of more of the same. It's just this shot but bigger, this main shot but bigger. It just says yip yip, and again the same shot once again, Q-Fig Max. So that's a little bit weird that they put the window on it when all the stuff that they show is basically already on the box. But you know, it is definitely nice, and obviously with the Katara and Sokka coming out, it's nice to know what the box looks like. But most of the video we're going to be shooting from behind the camera, looking at the figure, which I'll cut to just now. Okay, so here is the figure out of the box. As you can see, pretty nice. I like this from pretty much as soon as it was announced. Obviously, the unique thing about the QMX and the sort of Q-Fig style is that they go for sort of a chibi or sort of more cartoony style without going sort of like full chibi. So it's just sort of, odd proportions kind of versions of the characters here. So, you can see here Aang's head is more or less in proportion with his body, but it's maybe a little bit bigger than you'd maybe expect it to be. But it allows them to go for a pretty crazy look overall with this, statue figure. And what I especially like about what they've done with the Avatar Q-Figs is that, one, they've done what I really like on especially Avatar figures, which is have a big bending effect part. Because so far with the action figures, it's felt like it's been very difficult for them to do bending accessories that work, because they either need to be really big or just really set specific ones for each element. Whereas the statues, you can actually set the character up doing something quite impressive because it only has to hold that one pose. The unique thing here, though, is that it's sort of the character doing something crazy with their bending, but they also give you sort of like a little bit of scenery here with the fact that like Aang's doing it on this like tree stump, which I think is quite cool. And if you look at it from kind of above, it's kind of hard to see maybe through the whole thing, but you can see that it has sort of carved into the top of the tree stump the sort of air symbol. You can sort of see in there the sort of the air symbol, the three swirls, which I think is very, very cool. And you can tell it's sort of like a high tree as well, because you've got this sort of cloud-esque kind of stuff going on here around the base as well. So that's very nice to see. And then the little bits of green on the outside is cool as well. And then obviously he's doing the kind of air spirals here. And you can see throughout it, you've got the leaves, little bits of rock as well being brought up. They're maybe a little big, but he's obviously doing some pretty powerful airbending, so it makes sense perhaps that it's a bit bigger than you would think. And of course the really unique thing is you've got Momo as well. Momo often gets paired with Aang on sort of statues or figures, And it's nice to see him here kind of flying on the air currents that Aang is making. And there's a lot of detail to what's going on here, in that you can see in the middle there, where his staff kind of hits the tree. There's a bit of a swirl there, just directly attached. On the top, if I move this back a bit, you can see that there's also a swirl up here. And then in general, this swirl here is coming around the staff. And I like that. That tends to be where the air is being sort of generated from. And you can sort of follow it all around, of like this main kind of swirl here goes down here. This one kind of goes all the way around here. It's really nice overall, just the way they do the detail. And especially just the kind of paint effect on like the kind of weathering almost on the tree looks very, very, very nice. For size comparison purposes, like I'll bring in the other, I suppose, main Aang statue that I suppose everyone knows. Here's the Diamond Select Gallery Diorama Aang. So you can see obviously the Aang itself is much bigger, but the statues are relatively similar size. They're also similarly priced in that, you know, they both cost effectively like $50, kind of brand new. I know some of them could be harder to find and the price might go up, but you know, retail price $50 for both of these. And you can tell like you get roughly the same amount of figure, in that this Aang has this crazy air base and is a bigger, you know, version of Aang. Whereas you get a smaller Aang here, but you get this sort of tree stand here as well, but also an air effect, and you know, kind of a more maybe realistic attempt at doing the air, and then a more kind of cartoony effect, but they still get across exactly what you want. Obviously I tend to prefer this one because it is book 3 Aang, and I preferred that design to the book 1 design here. But you know, book 1 is obviously the kind of classic Aang design. And that's the only thing I think with the Q-Figs that makes me hold back, is just that, like a lot of the action figure lines, we're X many years into Avatar, and all of these companies are still they're starting to put out stuff, and they're all doing book 1 Aang, book 1 Katara, book 1 Zuko, when everyone is at the point now where we want sort of end of series characters more so than start of series. So, you know, I got this one just to see what they were like, but I definitely like QMX to do a book 3 Aang. The only thing that makes me hold back in potentially getting the Katara Q-Fig, which I do like, is just that it is book 1 Katara and not book 3 Katara. Because otherwise I do like what's going on, and like the Sokka is so far right now like the only Sokka sort of statue figure that they're putting out, so that any company is really putting out, so there's a uniqueness to that. And I just kind of want to see them announce a few more to see what's actually happening here, because you know, any company that's doing the statues is going to do like an Aang, a Katara, a Zuko. They're the really obvious ones, but you know, which company is going to get around to doing like a Suki, a Kyoshi, other sort of fan favorite characters who aren't the like really obvious just main cast? So that's kind of what I'm also kind of looking out for. But you know, overall, like I am impressed here with this. Like this is really nice quality overall. Even just kind of focusing in a little bit more on the figure itself, you can see that the painting is really nice. They've got the colors on the orange, the yellow, the brown, the blue, and the air tattoos. Very nice. They also, you know, Aang's book 1 design, I often talk about sort of how oddly complicated it is, because it's like the yellow thing is like over kind of brown kind of, you know, trousers that he's wearing basically, and it's a bit of a weird look that some of the action figures have kind of struggled to do in motion, but they got that detail right as well. So yeah, I like these, and I think so far these are probably the two main sort of kind of companies doing statues, and the statues that I think are being done well. That this is probably the most, you know, hyped, you know, statue stuff, just because it's the characters tend to look like the characters, maybe the faces being the one thing that's maybe a little bit off with the Diamond Select ones, but characters in really cool bending poses, not too expensive. here's a similar thing, more cartoony style, but you get sort of the whole package, bit of kind of scenery, the effect, the characters in a nice kind of dynamic pose. They just need to, I think, announce some more characters is the main thing. Like, we know there's more of these coming. I think everyone's expecting Toph next, even though they haven't confirmed who is next. It's probably the same for this. We're waiting to see, like, are they going to do a Zuko in these? Are they going to do a Toph in these? That's the big thing. That, you know, companies have been doing merchandise for a while now for Avatar, but it still feels like we're in the very, very early days, and we're sort of well behind where we should be. Because if you get the first figure in like every line, you're gonna have like 20 Aang's. Like, that's the only like criticism I think to be had about this whole merchandise expansion that we're sort of going through right now. It's just that everyone is doing their book 1 Aang, and there's so many to sort of, you know, choose from. Whereas, you know, go for the book 3 design. Do something a little bit different. Do his comic design. Just to switch it up a bit. That's what I'd like to see a bit more of. But to basically wrap this up, pretty much a pretty high recommendation from me. For anyone wondering, that just the way the base looks, you know, it says the number, Avatar: Last Airbender, Aang, Q-Fig, Max, Elite, QMX, just all the usual details. So I like that it has that information on the bottom. But yeah, very nice figure, just for anyone wondering what these are actually like. That's what the Aang looks like. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm interested in the other ones, but I might wait to see what they announce as like their next figure. Just because these are obviously Q-Fig like Maxes or Elites, which are the more expensive ones. There is normal Q-Figs that are more in or around the sort of $20, $25. If they start to do like the other characters at the smaller price point, then I think they seem like a go-to thing. Of like, I think effectively what they do with them is just not too much of a fancy scenery stuff on a normal Q-Fig, and it's just more the character on more of a kind of standard base. I think they still have the character doing something, but maybe not as exaggerated as this. So you can tell it's maybe going to be a more simpler figure, but, you know, the style is still going to be like this. So yeah, if you have got any of the QMX Avatar figures yourself, definitely leave some comments below about what your thoughts are on the Aang, on the Sokka and Katara that are coming out. But other than that, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.